So again, thank you for joining us today and welcome to our introductory session from Siloed to Synced with Besyncly. My name's Andrina McBain. I'm the Product Marketing Manager here at Eureka Solutions, and we're delighted to introduce you to our new connector for iplicit. Our webinar today will be led by Lara Fitches, our integration expert, and also with Mike Hall, our Head of Product, joining us for the Q&A session at the end. So save all your tricky questions for him. Today we're going to show you how Besyncly connects iplicit to all the platforms that you depend on, giving you synchronized data and removing the need for so many manual tasks. This could be rekeying all your sales orders from your e-com site into iplicit, or entering donations and pledges from your fundraising platforms, or re-entering customer data from your CRM into iplicit so that everyone can work from the same data in the right system. So without further ado, I'll let Lara take you through how the platform can do all these things for you. Over to you, Lara.
Thanks for the introduction, Andrina, and thanks again, everybody, for joining. So my name's Lara, and I look after all of our Besyncly integration customers here at Eureka Solutions. And today we're going to focus in particular on our iplicit integration connector. So let's have a little look at what's on the agenda. I'm going to take you through an introduction to Eureka Solutions, which is our company, and some information on Besyncly, which is the integration platform. We'll have a little look at what the iplicit connector can do, and what different systems you can integrate iplicit to. I'll also show you a demonstration of the Besyncly platform, and then we've got some time for sort of questions and answers near the end. So Eureka Solutions, we have been implementing accounting and ERP solutions for over the last 20 years. Most recently, we've become an authorized iplicit partner. So as well as integrating with the iplicit platform, we also carry out iplicit implementations. So on behalf of our own customers and for iplicit themselves, so we know the platform inside and out. We've also developed our own integration platform, which is called Besyncly, and we'll touch on that in a couple of minutes. We've grown from sort of back in 2004, we had 3 members of staff. Fast forward to today, and we have over 75 members of staff dotted up and down the country. The majority of those people are in technical roles. So we have our own implementations team, we have a development team, we've got our own support staff, and we are spread across offices up and down the country. So we have our main office is in East Kilbride in Glasgow, and we've got an office in the northeast of England with, like I say, remote workers up and down the country. So to have a look at Besyncly, what is it? So Besyncly is an intelligent cloud-based integration platform which offers fast and secure and pain-free integrations. So it sits in the middle of the platforms that you want to integrate iplicit with, and it just pushes and pulls the data in between these two platforms, eliminating the need for manual data entry. And it also removes the need for any sort of hefty upfront API development costs, because in most instances, we've already got those API connectors built within the platform. And it's completely managed deployment with ongoing support from day one. So we handle all of the integration setup for you, and we also support the integration as well. So just to have a look at some Besyncly stats, it's a tried and tested solution. So back in 2005, we released our on-premise version, on-premise integration platform called Data Exchange. So it's still being used today. We have a lot of customers who need to integrate on-premise solutions. The more and more integrations that we were carrying out, though, the more we realized we sort of needed to move it to the cloud. We were getting asked to integrate cloud platforms all of the time. So back in 2017 was when we released Besyncly. It's the trusted choice for growing businesses. So we have over 40 system connectors built within the platform, and we've got over 500 custom connectors and integrations in there as well. So these are connectors for systems that everybody uses. So you have the likes of e-commerce integrations, so Shopify, for example, or WooCommerce. And then we've got some really sort of custom connectors and integrations built within the platform for people who've maybe had their own internal systems developed for them, something that they use that, that nobody else would ever use. So it's a sort of a one-off very custom bespoke integration just for them. And it's built to handle growth. So we have millions of transactions a month running through the platform. And that's split across some customers who maybe push through a couple of hundred transactions a month, to those who are literally pushing through tens and hundreds of thousands of transactions on a monthly basis through Besyncly. And that equates to billions of pounds worth of revenue a year running through the platform. So just to take a look at some of our customers, you may or may not recognize these, but it's just to show you the sort of wide variety of people who use the system. So we've got a nationwide chain of bowling alleys. We've got a popular sort of e-commerce clothing brand. We've got whiskey distilleries. We have golf clubs. We've got Premier League football clubs, property management companies, insurance companies, and we do a lot of charity integrations now and not-for-profits and things like that. So it's used by a huge array of different customers, which takes us on nicely to what systems you can integrate iplicit with. So a lot of customers, like I say, would use it just to integrate their e-commerce website. So you've got on the left-hand side here, you can see we've got connectors for Shopify, for WooCommerce, for BigCommerce, Amazon and eBay. We also have CRM integrations in there as well. So I think Salesforce is quite a popular one at the moment. We've got HubSpot. We do ticket and system integration. So we've got Ticketmaster and Secutix. And then because iplicit's huge in the charity sector, we've been asked to add a lot of charity integrations recently. So for charity, for sort of fundraising systems and charity CRM. So you have the likes of Razor's Edge, we've got Just Giving, there's Donorfy, and there's Thank You CRM. So if there's something that you can't see on this list, like I say, this is just a selection of the things that we integrate with. It could already be that we have a connector built for it. It might be that it's on the roadmap, or by all means, obviously, just get in touch and ask, and we can look to build it for you. We also, bottom right there, you'll see we do a lot of FTP integration. So we integrate with systems that don't necessarily have an API available. So we can also integrate with those systems and platforms as well. So just to have a look at what maybe a typical iplicit integration would look like. So because the platform's so flexible, we can literally get anything in and out of the platform, really. So just to give you an idea, we have, it's a two-way sync, so we can transfer data in and out of iplicit. And it's usually things like sort of data like customers and suppliers. We've got documents on there, which could be anything from a sales invoice, a purchase invoice, purchase order, a payment, a project. So we can get your orders from your website, for example. We can create sales orders in iplicit for those, or we can get pledges and donations out of your charity system and create invoices in iplicit. And then if you look at the bottom, we've got inquiries. So this is data that we can get out of iplicit and into another system. And it really is as flexible as anything that you can create an inquiry for on iplicit, we can get out of the system. So it could be things like orders with all of your different item lines on there, or customers and suppliers and things like that. So that's not to say that this is how you have to have it working. This is just an example of integrations that we've built in the past. So just to have a look at some of the benefits of integrating with iplicit. So it removes manual processes. So there's no more rekeying your data in between systems, no more manually updating disparate systems, no rekeying errors, and it's saving you time and money. It improves collaboration. So you've got shared insights and a single source of truth, and you can arm your teams with the data that they need. And it ultimately results in cleaner databases. So you've got less manual upkeep, reduced human error, and you've got the right data in the right system at the right time. So I'm going to give you a quick demonstration of the platform. So I'm going to just swap screens here, and hopefully I've still got everybody. If not, then just shout up. That should be you seeing my Besyncly platform.
Yes, we can, Laura. Yeah.
Sorry, thanks. Right, okay, so this is Besyncly. As you can see, I'm just logged into my demo account here, and I'm just accessing it from the cloud, so you can get access to this anywhere. We don't need to install anything at your side. It's a cloud-based platform. And this is just the dashboard, so it gives you a little bit of information as to what plan you've got, how many transactions you've got available to you this month, and when it's next due to reset, what you've used, what's remaining, and things like that. So just a little snapshot as to where you are at that moment in time. And I'm just going to have a look at the account settings here. So just to take you through it all. But by the way, I'm gonna show you the field mappings and everything like that in a second. But this is something that our implementations team will set up for you. So when we run through the integrations, don't panic too much. This is something that we set up for you. You don't need to do this yourselves. It's just to give you an idea of obviously what the platform looks like and what's involved and what's possible. So again, in your account settings, I'm just going to skip down. This is where you have all of your information about, who's got access to this, essentially. So what email address have I got registered? If you go further down here, you can set up additional users for Besyncly. So you can have as many people as you need access to this. You can give them access. You can play around with the settings here and tell the platform who you want to send any notification emails and things like that to. And more importantly, just on the right-hand side here, this is where you can set up all of your security settings. So you can enable all of your two-factor authentication settings. You can change it per user. You can set the amount of days it's valid for and things like that. So that's quite a useful tool. You can also give partner access to your account. So if you have a partner, for example, who's maybe maintaining this or looking after it for you, you can give them access so they can change the integration settings and things like that within the platform. So that's just to give you a little bit of an overview. It's sort of the back end, but essentially with Besyncly, you have the concept of what we call connectors and integrations within the platform. So before we can set up the integrations for the things that you want to integrate iplicit with, we have to set up the connectors for those platforms. So you'll see down the left-hand side here, I've just got some demo connectors set up within the system. So I've got my iplicit sandbox connector there, and I've got some for e-commerce platforms. I've got Salesforce in here. I've got Razor's Edge, which is a charity platform. I've got Shopify and WooCommerce. So it might be that you just want to integrate iplicit with one other system, or you might have 3 or 4 or even 5 or 6 different connectors listed in this platform. So once you've got those set up, it's as easy as just create a new connector, by the way, and you just select it from the drop down and pop the credentials in for the system that you want to link with. Again, our team do this for you, so don't panic. So once you've got the connectors set up, we can then go and set up the integrations for the systems that you want to link with. And I've just got some test ones set up in here. So we have WooCommerce, which is an e-commerce platform. We've got orders from there coming in at iplicit as sales orders. I've got one for Salesforce, which I'm bringing in accounts from Salesforce. And that's creating either a customer or a supplier in iplicit. Razor's Edge, so I've got my pledges coming from Razor's Edge, and they're coming into iplicit as a sales order. And then at the bottom here, we've got Shopify orders coming into iplicit as orders as well. So I'm going to open up this integration, and then we can see just the types of fields that you can map between the two systems. So on the left, you've got the platform that we're getting the data from. So that's your export platform. And then on the right, this is where we're sending the information to. So in this case, we've got orders coming from Shopify and going into iplicit. And it's really just to show you the types of field mappings that you can set up. So it's everything that you would expect to see really on an order coming from a website going into your accounting system. It's things like the billing address, the shipping address. You've got all your line items on here. You've got your title going to your description. You've got your SKU going to your product ID, order numbers, things like that. And at the bottom, if we move further down in orange, These are what we call default lines. So this is where we tell the integration to do something quite specific. So in this instance, for example, we have our legal entity, an iplicit, and it's ROC01. So that's where all of the orders are going to. You've got your tax code ID is set as SS, and you can add as many or as few of these lines as you want. So I'm just going to quickly show you how many we have in here. So I've just added a new mapping line there, and you'll see this is literally everything that we get access to in the Shopify API that we've built into the platform. So if we just click on orders, for example, it just gives you an idea of all of the fields that we get in each system, and there's absolutely stacks of them. So like I say, you don't have to have all of them mapped. You would never use them, but they're all available in the platform if we do need to add them. You can also add custom fields as well into the integration. So this is just where it asks you where we find the field, what type of field is it, and what's the name of the field, and we can add that in as well. So I'm going to come out of here, and I'll show you the edit integration settings as well, which is quite a useful tool. So this is where, again, just one step above, mapping just one field to another. This is where we can tell the integration to do something even more specific. So you've got export settings and import settings here. So because it's the Shopify order export, we can tell the integration just to grab any open orders, for example, with the status of, I'm going to say partial or shipped, we'll say shipped. And you can also add things like source name. So if, I'm trying to think of an example. So if your EPOS orders are being fed into the back end of Shopify, for example, we can just type in here, grab everything with the source name of EPOS. So there's all sorts of different things you can do within these settings. And then again, over and above that, you've got this config setting here, which is where our development team can put some really custom code in here, which goes way above my head, but it can tell the integration to do something really, really clever that you can't do with just mapping, one field to another. So once we've got all of your fields mapped for the integrations that you want to have running, you've got some integration settings here. So this is where we can set up notifications. So we can send any successful and failed emails to certain people. You can specify how many different people you want to receive that email, and we can send those. You've got some settings here which are quite useful to know about. So you've got allow duplicates, which we would normally have that turned off because obviously, you don't want duplicate transactions running through the platform. You don't want to import the same order twice, for example, into iplicit. So that would always be turned off. But it's quite useful just to have it on for test purposes. So if you're testing, you can just keep importing the same transaction and making changes to it rather than clogging the system up with loads of different sort of test orders. Save sent data and save failed data, that's really useful, and I'll show you that in a second in the log section, but that basically just lets you see what data you've pushed through the platform. And up here, this is where you can change the schedule. So you can have the integration running as often as every 5 minutes. You can do it once an hour or once a day, or you can have it running on a Monday at 3 o'clock. And the good thing about this is you can have a different schedule set up for each integration that you've got running, so they don't all have to run at the same time. You can have them all running at different times of the day. And then I think that's pretty much it. Here it tells you whether it's live or it's testing, and you can just turn the integration on and off as well in this part here. If we come out, close that, and just for argument's sake, I'm going to open this one up, and it'll show you the different types of fields that we've got mapped for different types of platforms that we integrate with. So obviously this is Razor's Edge. It's a charity platform, and it really just shows the different types of fields. So in here, it's all around sort of gift aid amounts. I'm going to add another mapping line in here. Again, just so you can see what data we get in each system. So this one, for example, you can have it split over different campaigns. If it's got to go to a different fund, you're splitting it across 2 different fund IDs in iplicit. So we, like I say, we get access to all of that information in the mappings here. And again, we get access to everything in the APIs. So the only other section probably to take you through would be the log section. Now, this is where, although we say this is a cloud-based system and you can access it from anywhere, typically when the integration's up and running, it just ticks away in the background and you never really have to come into the platform. Obviously, we wouldn't advise that you came into the integration section and started messing about with the settings or anything like that. But the only place you maybe would want to come in and have a look at is the log section. And this is where it tells you exactly what transactions have gone through the platform, whether they've been successful, whether they've failed. And I think I've got a test one here. If you open it up, you can see here, this is my Shopify order integration, and it's just it tells you exactly what we've done. This is a successful transaction, but if it was a failed one, it would highlight the reason that it had failed. So, for example, we couldn't import this order into iplicit because the product code didn't exist. So this would be the product code here. All you would do is you can just highlight it and change it in here and click resend data, and that'll fire the transaction off again into the corresponding system. And it would then appear as a successful transaction in here rather than a failed one. So there's all sorts of clever things that you can do in the logs. Like I say, these are all monitored, and you would get an email if anything had failed for whatever reason. But like I say, once it's all tested and up and running, you never really have to keep tabs on any of this. And the last section would be the support section. So in here, you've got some useful information. You've got the field guide, for example, which we've got for every single connector that we have, but it's just useful to see what you can import and export between these systems. And if you drill down further, it's got every single field that we have available in the iplicit connector. If anybody wants to see this, by all means, we can send a link to this and you can have a little look through. And you can also raise a ticket straight from the platform, a support ticket. But you've got your telephone and email support details on here as well. So that's all included with your Besyncly license costs. So telephone and email support, Monday to Friday, 9 till 5:30. And that is essentially our Besyncly platform in a nutshell. I'm going to skip back to our slides. I'm going to touch quickly on the referral program. Now, I know there's a lot of different audiences on the call today. So we've got some end users, we have some iplicit partners, and we've also got customers who maybe have their own products and platforms that they'd like to integrate with iplicit. So we do have a referral scheme, and we do have our partner portal, which is coming soon. And that's going to be really useful for those partners who would maybe like to implement Besyncly themselves. So like I say, typically we would take care of it for you, but the option is coming if you did want to take care of the implementations yourself. Hopefully I've answered some of your questions and I haven't raised more than answered, but I think we've got some time now with Mike just to run through any questions that you might have.
There are some questions, but it's not because you left any gaps like that. So I've got quite a few actually, Mike. Hope you're ready. So first one is it possible to connect multiple platforms to iplicit?
Yeah, so a couple of things there. So number one, we've obviously got all those different connectors, and the thing is that as long as it's got an API or there's a file output, whether it be a CSV, a XML file, whatever, we can get ADI file, whatever it is, we'll be able to get access to it and get it in. But what you can also do is on an integration, you can, if that question is met, is can I do one integration with multiple platforms in iplicit? We can do that. So, for example, for one client, we are picking up, for example, opportunities from Salesforce. So we're going to pull in opportunities, and the actual detail behind the opportunity sitting in a spreadsheet somewhere else on OneDrive. So essentially, we can pull the data in from two and create the invoice from it. So we can do that in one integration. We can also link integrations as well. So we can take so for example, say if we were bringing in is a typical charity one we'd do is we'd bring in the pledge as an invoice because that might want to be deferred. And then as and when, and then what we can also do, ones that are paid straight away, we can link it so that it will then create the sales receipt at the same time. So we can link integrations together to do other things. So I hope that answers that one.
I think that does. Thank you. Next question would be, can you post transactions to custom attributes and custom fields?
Absolutely, you can. So whatever you set up in iPlicit, so whether you've got that as a custom field on the header of a transaction, or whether it's a custom attribute that's in one of your chart of accounts rules, you can post all of those. I think Laura touched on during the demo there when she was mapping the fields. You can link to custom fields, and you just type in the name, whatever your custom attribute is. That you've got there. What you can also do as well is that is where as we're explaining the different documents that you can put in. So if you've created your own document types, or your iPlicit partner has, you can use those as well. So if you've got a different type of invoice, like deposit invoice or something like that, it'll pick all of those. So no matter what your document types are, you would be able to pick those up.
Brilliant, thank you. I think this is a related question. Can you convert one document type into another? For example, can I create a sales receipt for a sales invoice or a receipt?
You can. So
Receipts and
that's
goods
another
for
thing. Yeah. So typically, what I do is so some people when we bring in sales orders, for example, from Shopify. Now, in Laura's example, where you've got the filters where you want to bring in something that's shipped. So what we do is we want to bring it as an order. We will then ship it and invoice it straight off and post the invoice all in one swoop. So there's still one, you could argue we could just go straight to invoice, which you could, but if you wanted to sell, all right, we always create sales orders because I want to report from that. So you can go from sales orders, and we can do that in one go, basically by what we call linking integrations.
Brilliant. Nearly there, Mike. Is support given as standard?
Yes, it is. So any implementations that we do direct, we'll be supporting you. We are, as we've alluded to, we are just about literally to roll out the partner platform. So with that, partners who we will train up to do Besyncly, they will be able to provide their own support. So we will provide second line support to them. But anyone that we do direct, we would support.
Lovely. And can you have different VAT codes on the upload, i.e. standard and out of scope?
Absolutely. So this can work many different ways, and we do some really complex ones. So if you've got, so we can either pick up from the other system what the VAT rate is and map it to whatever rate it is in iPlicit. So whether it be your standard rate, exempt, out of scope, whatever you want it to be, or not applicable. So you can map it to any of those, and we can do some really complex things. So we know that people trading with people in Europe, where you've got a thing called one-stop shop, where it gets really complicated, where different countries can have different VAT rates. We can do some really complex mappings and do that sort of things. So yes, we can deal with, and it's just about, do we use the standard rates on the customers in iPlicit, or do we take it from the source system and map them that way? So we can do all that.
Brilliant, thank you. And how long would it usually take to create a new connection to a system that we don't already have a connector for?
All depends on what they want. So
Yeah.
the around time with this. So if we're doing, Laura, we'll do a lot of custom integrations, and some of them can be really, really complex. So it all depends on the scope. But typically, what would say it's normally I would say end to end from signing the order, doing the specification to actually passing it over to say user acceptance testing. If it's a total custom one, we're talking that would be probably anywhere between 4 to 8 weeks, depending on the complexity of the system and whether the system was brand new or whether it was something that was established and been around. So it can vary a bit, but it could be anywhere from probably typically 4 to 8 weeks as a turnaround time, I would say.
Brilliant, thank you. Next question, is there a maximum number of custom fields you can have?
No, there's no. They've got, so the biggest one we've done is we've got one company where they've got 24 custom fields on a line that comes through. So imagine what that looks like in iplicit when you bring up and you pick that GL code and you've got all of the custom fields and you've got 20 odd. So no, there's no limit. As long as you can set it up in iplicit, we have access to it.
Perfect, lovely, thank you. And last one, I think, do you connect into document extraction tools that go beyond the purchase invoice extraction that iplicit does already?
Not yet, no, but that's something that we could, that again, we're always willing to broaden the scope of what the platform does. It's not something we've been asked to do because there's a lot already out there that can potentially link in. And I know obviously iplicit have their own plans for things, so it's something we could do. If someone wants that, we can do that. We've just done a special integration for someone with like a payment gateway. We've also linked in to basically as long as it's got an API, we can get access. We can get access to it as long as the data's there. API, we can pull it in.
Brilliant. Thank you. That's great. Okay. Well, that was quite a lot of questions, but thank you for inputting them. So if there's anything in there that we can add into the email, we'll send that along with the recording to make sure everybody gets all the information they need. And just really happy to see the interest in the integration and how it works. So thanks for your time. So yeah, if you'd like to explore Besyncly further, Lara's your ongoing contact. So she'd be delighted to do a demo for you, a personalized demo for your business, so if possible, to show exactly how it could work for you. And also, if you're a business partner, then you're welcome to get in touch with Lara to discuss how you would go about offering this to your clients, or what the news is on the partner portal coming up if you're interested in implementing it yourself in future. So yeah, just want to say thanks again. Thanks for joining us. I'm glad you're interested in Besyncly and hope we've answered your questions today. Thanks very much, folks. Cheers. Bye bye.
Thank you.